Hello there, welcome to the video. It is currently precisely 10 p.m. on a Tuesday school night. I'm trying to prepare for the meat of this writing vlog, which is going to be me reading the second draft of my novel, not this is the first draft. But I'm trying to figure out how to get my second draft in this printed out form. So what I'm doing is I am ordering it through Staples, so I'm just trying to get this sorted out so that I can order it tonight, and then hopefully it'll be ready for pickup tomorrow. I got my draft. I literally just got home from school. It's 4:01 p.m. I got home like 30 minutes ago, but my mom just got home and she picked this up for me, and here it is. This is like, it's not thicker than I thought it would be, but it is so much thicker than my first draft. Like, it's time. Initially, I intended on reading this over the course of the entire school week, but it is now Friday, and I haven't read a single page. And so that means that starting right now at 5:04 p.m. on January 14th, I'm going to be attempting to read the entirety of my second draft in one day, starting at 5 p.m. Is it the most realistic goal? Maybe not, which means that tomorrow, because it's Saturday tomorrow, I have the whole day to finish up what I'm probably not going to be able to read today. But starting right now, I'm going to be really trying to make a big dent in this because it is a thick stack of papers. Okay, before I start actually reading this, I wanted to show you what it looks like close up and specifically show you the title page. So this is like kind of a title reveal. I've never like said it out loud before. Okay, this is the draft. Staples has an option to include like a plastic clear cover, so I got that on either side because I just like it and it makes it feel like a lot more sturdy. And then the binding, they had different binding options, but I basically just did everything that I got for my first draft. The first page is obviously draft 2, and then you flip it and then there's like a blank page and then the title page, which is intentionally very like minimalistic and not like super in your face. So my title is To the Missing from the Drowning. I love this title so much. I think it just is perfect for what the story is, but I'm worried about it being like a bit too long and maybe a bit too like clunky, but I don't know, I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna start, when talking about this project in my videos, refer to it as Project Missing Drowning, but this is the full title as of right now, although it might change in the future because I don't know if I'm gonna like this title down the line. And then one of the major mistakes that I made on my first draft is that I did not leave an end page of any sort. So literally when you flip my draft to the back, it has like the final page of the whole book. But I did not do that this time. I have like a blank page here, the end, obviously, and then 2 more like blank pages, and then it closes. And in total it is 321 pages, including like every single page in the book, but it's probably a little lower than that if we get rid of like all of the like blank pages and things. So yeah, that's my draft. And now I'm gonna get to reading this, which is kind of intimidating because it is very, very long, and I do really want to try and read a bunch of it today, and I need to just start and stop talking about starting. But I'm so excited to read it, honestly, because I love draft 2 a lot more than draft 1. I feel a lot more confident about it, even though it has plenty of flaws. So many flaws. If anyone else read this, they would have no idea what the hell was going on, but because I'm the one who is writing it, I know like what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do with what I write. I don't know. Okay, it is 6:09. I've read 1.5 pages, and I've already written down some notes on my Google Doc. I think I'm gonna be writing down most of like my thoughts on there, not like writing them out physically, but I am going to be underlining stuff that I particularly like with my pencil and a ruler, just so that it looks like cleaner. Just lines that I think really stand out, and because like as I'm reading it, I want to like have some sort of like engagement with the actual thing in front of me. But most of like the actual writing I'm gonna do is going to be on my Google Doc, and even then I'm trying not to write like a huge amount of stuff. Like I'm not really trying to think about like what can be improved in this exact scene, how can I make this opening paragraph better. Okay, hour 1 update. It is now almost 7, and I'm starting chapter 3. Not the greatest start. This is the dent of progress I have made, which, you know, it's not much, and I am enjoying this a lot, even though it is a hot mess. I especially think of like the first 8 to 10 chapters are a lot messier. Maybe not messier, just generally lower quality than later chapters. I feel like the later chapters, especially the late chapters, are like messes when it comes to the plot, but are much better written. But these like first 2 chapters, the writing is not the greatest. It's just very like clunky and like jarring and doesn't flow nicely, and just it doesn't feel like my best work. I'll say that much. But I'm still really enjoying it because this is my story, this is my everything, so like I don't even care as long as it is about these characters and this story. There's a lot of descriptions of the setting. I think I do a pretty good job of developing the setting. Lots of lake stuff, forest stuff, small town stuff, and I'm taking some notes of stuff that I want to do in draft 3, and I'm enjoying this, and I feel like I'm really sucked into it. Like I am in the zone, although I'm not reading very quickly, but I feel like I'm ready to just dedicate the next few hours of my life to just trekking through this. Update, it's 8:56, so this is like my hour 3 update. I've just started reading chapter 9. I'm getting doubtful, which I think is as expected. I am feeling tired, not like painfully tired, like it's just strange because I feel like I am capable of sitting here and finishing this whole thing. I'm not halfway yet, but I'm like a third. Yeah, I'm a third because this is like 300 pages and I'm on page 104. I also went to school today, which I think literally every single school day I have automatically less energy because I went to school, and that drains a lot of energy, and I've been up since 6:50 this morning. My favorite chapter that I read so far, by far, and one of my favorite chapters of the whole book, I think, is chapter 8, which I can't really tell you what happens in it, but I just think that I executed the concept of it perfectly. However, my major thing that I'm realizing with this, and it's something that like I knew was an issue, is that it really doesn't read like a mystery. Like there's no real tension, there's no atmosphere. Like I just want draft 3 to be so much heavier on the mystery, and I want it to feel a lot darker. It just, I feel like the tone of this is very strange because it will go from feeling like a young adult, like contemporary romance, to feeling like kind of like a mystery thriller, but like not really, because it doesn't have that kind of tension. And I've always wanted it to be like a mystery and like be a dark story, but I think because the plot of the mystery has always been one of the things that I know the least about, I think when I'm writing the draft itself, I focus on like the characters that I already know so well and neglect the actual mystery, like plot development kind of stuff, just because I'm not as confident in knowing what direction it's going in. I don't know. I'm getting tired, and I feel like reading your words that you wrote yourself for so long and just realizing how much I ramble and how unnecessarily long not only are my sentences, but my paragraphs are so long. And another thing I'm realizing is that there is so little dialogue and like actual character interaction. Like there is, because there's so many scenes that involve like multiple characters, but a lot of it is just inside of Tristan's head, and it's like these chunky, Jesus Christ, these chunky paragraphs of just his thoughts. I think I'm gonna take a bit of a break and eat some cheesies that are right here, and then I guess I'll go to bed and wake up early tomorrow and hopefully get straight back into reading this. Peace. Good morning. Good morning. I am, as always, sitting here drinking my coffee. It is 9:48 a.m. on Saturday now, and I feel refreshed. I feel well rested. Okay, I have been reading. I have now been reading for an hour. It is now 11:57. I started at 11. I'm now on chapter 11, so I didn't make a huge ton of progress in terms of chapters, but chapter 10 was 7,000 words. So that definitely took me a while to read, and it's also just the paragraphs are so goddamn long for no reason. So it's extra difficult because it's like this big block of text. I don't know, it's just very rambly and not the greatest, but the chapter I'm reading right now is possibly my favorite chapter of the whole thing, maybe my second favorite chapter, and so I'm enjoying reading that, and I'm taking it pretty easy today. I'm not feeling super like, oh my god, I have to get this read in like X amount of hours as I was trying to do last night. I'm writing down a lot of things that I want to include in draft 3 on my Google Doc that I'm working on at the same time, and I'm excited to outline. I never thought I would say those words, but I have some ideas for some writing vlogs that are like preparation focused, that kind of have some cool like concepts, aka making an outline on my wall. So I'm excited, I'm getting pumped. This is the exact same feeling I had when I read my first draft, was like just feeling like I was back in the story and just having so many ideas for the next draft. Hello there. It is now 4 o'clock and I am on chapter 16 or 24. You know, I've made progress. I have passed the halfway point. I just finished writing down like a lot of stuff. I feel like I have all of the pieces for a really good mystery and like a really good reveal and explanation and everything. But there's just something missing that's like tying them all together and really tightening it and making it make actual sense. But I think I may have just figured something out. Right now, this is literally reading like a young adult contemporary that like at the very end has this super complicated explanation and like twist, but it doesn't even feel like an earned twist because there isn't like the necessary development throughout the whole book building up to that moment, so it just is like, whoa. But which I haven't gotten to that part because that's at like the very end, because also things in here wrap up super quickly, and I've thought of several things that I want to include that happen after the book. Not like after the book ends, like the book ends where it ends, but in between like the big reveal and when the book actually ends, there's a lot of stuff that I want to include now in that portion. I finished. I can't even begin to tell you how exhausted I am. It is now 10:27 p.m. I don't think I ever want to read any of my writing ever again. I'm kidding. I did enjoy reading this, don't get me wrong, but I mean, just look how thick it is. That is a behemoth of a book. I mean, I'm sure it could have been much longer. I felt this way when I read my first draft. It's so long, like it's a whole book, but I feel like nothing happens in it, and I don't know if that's because I overwrite or because I just know everything that's gonna happen in it, although what I learned from reading this is that I write too much, and I need to figure out how to not write so much, because it's not pleasant to read, it's not pleasant to write, it's just overall not a good thing that I do. There is not enough dialogue, there's not enough character interaction. I feel like there's so many less scenes than there should be because there's so much unnecessary description, and that's really weird for me to realize because I don't consider myself to be a descriptive writer. I don't consider myself to be someone that really enjoys describing the scenery and like nature and like just describing stuff. I don't feel like I'm that type of writer, and yet I feel like I do it just because it's like what my brain defaults to is like, oh, where are they? I feel like I have so much that I could say, but I'm also tired of thinking about this. I have taken so many notes today on ideas for draft 3. I got very into it and thinking about some changes that are going to be made. Some like major entire book changes, but more so in the way that it's written. I accomplished exactly what I wanted to accomplish in this video, and that was reading the entirety of this in a short period of time. So I think 2 days classifies as a short period of time, and I feel like since I started reading this last night or last evening or whatever, my brain has just been exclusively dedicated to reading this, and like I've just been thinking about this nonstop. I was aware of the fact that I think I like overwrite, but I wasn't aware of how much of an impact it has on the book as a whole. That being said, I didn't edit this prior to printing it out. Like, this is exactly what I wrote as I was writing it, and as I was writing it, I was not going back and reading like any of the stuff I wrote, and if I did, I was not touching it. I was maybe changing like 2 words in a sentence or something, but I was not like cutting out unnecessary descriptions or like changing stuff that didn't really apply anymore that I thought was just unnecessary. I didn't do any of that. So this is like everything that I wrote. So I do think that if I had the opportunity to edit this beforehand, or like if I made an edited version that didn't include all of my unnecessary descriptions, it would be much shorter and it wouldn't feel so draining to read. But that has really made me realize that in draft 3, I need to constantly be reminding myself, if this is not important, do not describe it. I feel like there's so many things that I described in here through Tristan's internal monologue in like 5 paragraphs that could have been instead included in like a conversation between him and another character, and he could have just told the other character what he was feeling or what he thought about a certain thing, and it would have been so much more natural to read, so much more fascinating to read, because it would have shown like a character interaction and their dynamic, and also just like better. I don't know, there's a lot of things that I did not like about this, but it's definitely an improvement from draft 1, which I guess is the goal of writing draft 2 or a second draft. It's still very, very far from the book that I want it to be. Like I mentioned, it's not dark enough. It's like the tone is not right. I have so much on my mind right now. I am so excited for draft 3, but I'm also very nervous because I am genuinely terrified for trying to fit that into my daily schedule. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. The only way that I can think of me being able to accomplish it in like not a super long period of time is genuinely just having so much fun with it, and I don't really know how to do that. Honestly, I don't know how to treat writing as something that is purely fun. I guess it's almost an end of an era, my draft 2 era, which has been entirely documented on my YouTube channel, which is strange to think about. Soon I'll be starting draft 3. As of right now, my goal is to start writing draft 3 on March 1st and extend it into sometime in August-ish. Maybe not realistic, I don't know, but I do want to start it in March, and I think I'll do the same thing that I did for draft 2, which is when I filmed like the first week of writing it from like the very first page. I think that's it. I think that this is the end of the writing vlog. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.